Before we begin, listen closely, because what you are about to hear is not just a saint's biography, but a warning. A warning that words can wound spirits, that truth can terrify demons, and that one man's voice once caused unseen beings to scream in rage. If stories like this move you, challenge you, or make you uneasy in a good way, make sure to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, and stay with us until the end. And please, comment below and tell me how far these videos reach, because I want to know how many souls are listening. Saint Dominic was not born into darkness, but he was born into a world slowly being swallowed by it. Spain, in the late 12th century, was a land of fire and faith, of crusades and confusion. Heresies spread like silent infections, not always through violence, but through persuasion. False teachings wrapped in eloquence, ideas that sounded holy but hollowed souls from the inside. Dominic did not fight demons with swords. He fought them with truth. And that, as witnesses would later testify, enraged hell itself. From a young age, Dominic was known for his intensity. He did not merely believe, he burned. His nights were filled with prayers so deep that those who passed his room said they heard him weeping, groaning, whispering words that sounded like battle commands spoken to God. He fasted until his body weakened, yet his voice grew stronger. And when he finally stepped into public preaching, something terrifying began to happen. People would gather to hear him speak. Simple villagers, wandering scholars, hardened heretics. At first, nothing seemed unusual. But then, as Dominic spoke of truth, of Christ, of humility, strange interruptions began. Shouts, screams, uncontrollable convulsions. Some fell to the ground, clawing at their own faces, shrieking words that were not their own. Witnesses swore they heard voices coming from mouths that were not moving, echoing rage, mockery, and terror all at once. Dominic did not stop preaching. He did not raise his voice. He did not perform dramatic gestures. He simply continued, calm, steady, relentless. And the screams grew louder. Those present would later testify that the air itself felt thick, heavy, as if something unseen was being dragged into the light against its will. Men and women accused of heresy collapsed, confessing sins they had never spoken aloud. Others claimed that during Dominic's sermons, shadows twisted unnaturally, and the sound of whispering filled the church even when no one was speaking. Demons, they said, could not endure the truth spoken plainly. Dominic understood something terrifying. Evil does not always announce itself. Sometimes it preaches. Sometimes it reasons. Sometimes it smiles. And the darkest battles are not fought in blood, but in belief. This was only the beginning. The heretical movements Dominic confronted were not openly satanic. That is what made them dangerous. They spoke of purity, of enlightenment, of secret knowledge that claimed to surpass the church itself. Many believed these groups were merely misguided thinkers. Dominic believed something far worse, that demonic intelligence was guiding them. He would enter villages already poisoned by false doctrine, where families were divided, children rejected their parents, and faith had become something cold and cruel. When Dominic preached, leaders of these movements would attempt to debate him. They used logic, philosophy, scripture twisted just enough to sound convincing. But Dominic saw what others could not. During one public disputation, witnesses recorded that as Dominic calmly dismantled the heretical arguments, one of the leaders began to tremble violently. His face contorted, his voice broke, and he shouted words no human should know, blasphemies layered with fear. Dominic paused, looked directly at the man, and continued speaking, not to him, but through him. Those present later said it felt as though Dominic was addressing something hiding behind human eyes. Suddenly, the man collapsed. When he awoke, he claimed he felt emptied, as if something had been torn out of him. He renounced the heresy on the spot, sobbing uncontrollably. Dominic said only one sentence afterward: "Truth does not argue with lies. It exposes them." From that day forward, rumors spread. People said demons fled from Dominic before he even arrived. That possessed individuals were freed simply by hearing him speak. That heretical leaders refused to debate him, not because they feared losing, but because something inside them reacted violently to his presence. Dominic slept little. He prayed constantly. Some nights, Fellow friars heard him crying out alone, wrestling in prayer as if physically struggling with unseen forces. When asked why he exhausted himself so completely, he replied, "The enemy does not sleep. Why should I?" Unlike later exorcists, Dominic did not rely on ritual alone. He relied on presence, on purity of intention, on truth spoken without fear. There are multiple accounts of possessed individuals being brought before Dominic, not for ceremonies, but simply to hear him speak. As he preached, the possessed reacted violently, screaming, mocking, begging him to stop. Witnesses said demons would shout things like, "Do not listen to him," or "He burns us." Dominic never addressed the demons directly. He spoke of love, of humility, of obedience to God, and that, paradoxically, was what tormented them most. One chronicler wrote that demons screamed not in anger alone, but in panic, as if exposed. Dominic's words stripped away their disguises. Lies cannot survive in full light, and Dominic was relentless light. After one such event, Dominic reportedly collapsed from exhaustion. He had driven himself beyond physical limits. A friar begged him to rest. Dominic replied, "If my voice breaks chains, let it break my body first." This was not theatrical holiness. This was warfare. Saint Dominic died quietly in 1221. No dramatic final battle. No visible demons at his bedside. But those who knew him said the air felt lighter, as if something oppressive had lifted. His legacy was not just an order, not just teachings, but a method, a terrifying realization for darkness itself. Truth spoken with humility is unbearable to demons. Even after his death, reports continued. People prayed at his tomb and felt sudden peace. Former heretics said their temptations vanished, and the order of preachers, born from Dominic's fire, continued to confront falsehood wherever it hid. Dominic proved something that still echoes today. You do not need to shout at demons. You do not need spectacle. You need truth. And truth, when spoken without compromise, becomes a weapon hell cannot silence.